are you what have some of the setbacks and benefits you notice, particularly for some of your students and yourself?
Setbacks is really mostly educational. I will also say it's social as well. Like, especially for the younger grades, I don't have experience with older kids, so I don't mean to just dismiss older kids and their problems, but I'm a first grade teacher, so that's what I understand. Especially for my first grade students, they really need social skills. They really need to learn to talk to people. They need to learn how to share. They need to learn how to get along with different types of kids. And when you're at home with your family who does everything the same way, you're not exposed to other children. That really is a setback. People don't really understand how important socialization is for children, but it's a big deal. I've had a lot of families that have asked for time allotted into the classroom day for kids to talk to each other, just because their child cries, because they feel lonely, they feel sad. Children go through things just like adults do. They might not always be able to verbalize it, but children go through depression. They get sad, and they get anxious about the pandemic and everything. And it would just be nice if they could just kind of hang out with children their age and children that they don't have to see every day. So that's a really big setback as well. Benefits, I've seen a lot of families grow very close. I really have. I've seen a lot of parents really begin to understand their child because they have to spend so much time with them. Educational benefits, I've seen a lot of bigger, more understanding of deficits, really understanding what I mean when I say, I have concerns for your child's reading, their reading level. A child coming into first grade should be, per the district, should be reading at a level D, but your child came to me and they're reading at a pre-A, which means a non-reader. And sometimes you do get a little bit of pushback because families are like, my baby can read. And I'm like, well, not with me. But now that they actually see, we do lessons, when I'm doing my reading lessons online, the family is next to their child. And when I put the word "the" on the screen and their child does not know that word, it really kind of registers to them oh, Miss Lovett she actually might know what she's talking about. Right. My child is struggling with holding retention of sight words, or my child isn't reading on grade level. So it does help with them being able to have a firsthand view of what it looks like when I'm trying to tell them that there might be I have a concern about their child's education.
You have any tips for parents at home that could possibly help with some of the reading skills besides reading with them, maybe going up a note cards type deal, or what's something you can?
Yes. I always say try to make reading as natural and fun as possible. Number one of the things that a lot of families do not think about, but a big thing that helps with reading literacy skills is conversation, just simple conversation. Talking to your child, taking time out of the day, having family dinners. When you're in the car, turn the radio off and just talk about everything you see. Have your child describe things. Have your child really explain how they feel. Having them really flex that little vocabulary that they have, that is it opens a whole new world in these babies' minds where somebody's actually sitting down and forcing them to have a true conversation. And conversation actually really helps with vocabulary, and vocabulary helps with reading a lot. So conversation's a big one. Kind of environmental reading is another one. My mom used to play this game with us. My mom's a teacher as well. My mother used to play this game with me and my sisters in the car, and it would be a game about it didn't have a name, but we would just be driving and she'd say, okay, who can tell me what that says? And obviously we all wanted to win. So I'm like, it says Snooks, mom, it says Snooks. You would just blurt it out. But when I was young, don't get me wrong, it was kind of frustrating because my older sister is 5 years older than me. So she was always oh, and she would just get it immediately. But it really forced me to okay, SC, oh, shucks. I'd have to sound things out. I'd have to really flex my brain. So that was one that was that one really helped. And just like small things, like if it's an appropriate text message that you know your child can read, hand them the phone and say, can you tell me what Granny just texted us? Can you tell me what Titi just said? You know, or can you send Titi a text and say, we're on our way? You know, just simple things like that, involving your child in literacy, like just because words are all around us. There's always a way to kind of fit things in, sound things out with them. Things that are kind of weird. Let them see you struggle with words. That's a big one. A lot of children feel like as adults, we just know things, and they don't realize that we too went through the stage where we looked at words and was like, I don't know what that says. So let them, like, honestly, let them see you sound words out. Nighttime reading is another one. Just kind of taking time out to read and spending that one-on-one time, because the children kind of relate that feeling of like happiness that they spend with their parent. They relate it to reading as well. So they don't, it's kind of like tricking them. They don't know that, you know, they're actually like, they're really just happy because they're spending one-on-one time with their parents, but it starts to make them feel like, oh, I'm happy because I'm reading, you know,
Right.
Instead of making reading such a chore. But those are my really big tips that I share with families.